everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Yu-Gi-Oh video for you. Not quite Master Duel, because today I actually want to talk about some cards that were revealed recently for the OCG that I've been theory crafting with, and I think are actually kind of insane. I don't see a ton of people talking about this, so I wanted to give the new Magnet Warrior support a little bit of spotlight here on my channel. I'm also doing this to kind of act as a bit of an I told you so in the event this deck becomes tiered or even like broken, which I think it has a real possibility of doing. I don't often do this on YouTube, but one notable exception I did make in the past was when the Yummy cards were first announced. I made a video here on YouTube talking about those, thinking those would be really good, which did pan out to be true. So hopefully I can go 2 for 2 here. But we do often talk about OCG cards as they're getting revealed over on the Patreon. That's actually where I first saw these Magnet Warrior cards, was in a Patreon video. So if you're looking for some exclusive content that doesn't get shared to YouTube, it's only posted on the Patreon, then head over to patreon.com/hexlex and check out the content over there. All support there is very much appreciated and will also get you a spot in the credits at the end of the video. But anyway, moving on to Magnet Warrior stuff. So we have here a few cards. Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum Plus Minus was actually, I think, already either revealed or even released before some of this other stuff like the Sigma cards, but this card is still going to be very, very important. It's one of your main starters for the Magnet Warrior combo line, which I'll go ahead and explain here shortly. But this card is really, really good. It special summons itself from hand by sending 2 Magnet Warrior monsters from the deck to the graveyard, which is insane. That sets up the new Sigma Plus in your graveyard, which when sent can special summon another Magnet Warrior from the graveyard. The other Sigma level 4 Magnet Warrior is Sigma Minus, which can reveal itself from hand to fusion summon, and also on normal summon can send Magnet Warrior monsters from your deck to the graveyard, like the new Telursion the Magnet Warrior, which can summon itself from the graveyard by banishing Sigma Magnet Warriors Plus and Minus from your face-up hand, field, or more importantly, graveyard. So when combining this with some of the old Magnet Warrior support, as well as the new Magnet Bonding card, which can search all of our cards here, then we are looking at a lot of potential for some starters here. As you can see, we're running 3 Beta, because that's a 1-card starter, and the new Magnet Bonding, which is also a 1-card starter. Let me go ahead and show you some of these combo lines, and then we'll talk about some of the possibilities here as far as what you are able to do with the combo lines. So as mentioned before, your main starter for this deck is going to be Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum Plus Minus. This card can special summon itself, as mentioned before again, by sending 2 Magnet Warrior monsters from your deck to the graveyard, as long as they're level 4 or lower. So we're going to send Sigma Plus as well as Beta the Electromagnet Warrior from our deck to the graveyard, and now we can special summon the Linear Magnum Plus Minus. This will trigger the effect of the Sigma Plus that is in our graveyard, which can summon another Magnet Warrior from our graveyard. So we're going to summon Beta the Electromagnet Warrior. You can also add it to your hand, but of course we're going to special summon it. So now we can activate the effect of Beta the Electromagnet Warrior, which on special summon adds a Magnet Warrior monster from deck to hand. We're going to grab Sigma Minus, and then we'll activate the in-hand effect, which reveals it, and now we can fusion summon the new Conduction Knight Plasma Magnum using it and Beta. On summon, the Plasma Magnum effect will activate, and this will add Magnet Bonding from our deck to our hand. Alright, at this point we're going to activate the effect of Magnet Bonding to add a Magnet Warrior monster from deck to hand. Let's get Epsilon the Magnet Warrior. And now we can activate the on-field effect of Plasma Magnum. This sends a Magnet Warrior monster from our deck to the graveyard like Telursion, and then we can immediately normal summon an Epsilon, or a Magnet Warrior monster rather, from our hand like Epsilon. This is an extra normal summon, by the way. So after using our extra normal summon on Epsilon, we can activate the effect, sending another Beta from deck to the graveyard, and now we can special summon a Magnet Warrior with a different name from our graveyard. It doesn't really matter which one, but if you did have another Magnet Warrior monster in your deck, or if you didn't, send the Telursion off of Plasma Magnum, you could then activate the summon effect of Sigma Minus to send Telursion. So Already you can see why I think this is so OP. None of these cards have locked us into anything, not Magnet Warriors, not Rocks, not anything at all. And we've already managed to put 2 level 7 bodies on the board as well as 2 level 4s, which is pretty insane. Like when you think about just how many bodies this is generating, it's kind of the level of like Mitsurugi or Fiendsmith, right? Of course we don't have like the incidental negates that are coming along with them, but the Talursion that we sent to the graveyard does have the ability to destroy monsters during the opponent's turn as a quick effect, or during our turn as well, just when the opponent activates a card or effect. Or if it happens to be an earth monster, you can even take control of it. But our combo line isn't quite done. Another thing we can do here, we'll ignore all this optional stuff, is we can go into Gallant Granite. And if you're playing in the OCG or Master Duel, we can use this in order to set up the Block Dragon. Now I just sent Epsilon. That was a misplay actually. I should have sent the Sigma minus that was attached, because then I could have banished Sigma plus and minus from the graveyard right now to summon Talursion. And then even after doing that, we still would have had 2 betas in our graveyard, meaning we just need to do a quick link summon in order to be able to then put out the Block Dragon. So that's what it looks like when you start with the Linear Magnum plus minus, but as mentioned before, there are other 1-card starters for this deck, so let's take a look at the lines with those. Now I mentioned before that one of the older cards, Beta, the Electromagnet Warrior, is actually 1-card starter for this engine. That's why I've got 3 copies of it in my little Magnet Warrior core there. This version of the line does use your normal summon, which the previous one did not. We did get an additional normal summon, but the previous line did not use our regular normal summon, but this one will. We're going to use our normal summon on Beta, and then we can activate the effect in order to add Sigma minus from our deck to our hand. Now we can activate Sigma minus's effect, revealing it from our hand to summon Conduction Knight Plasma Magnum by fusing with the Beta on our field. This will trigger the Plasma Magnum effect in order to add Magnet Bonding from deck to hand, which we can go ahead and activate in order to search Linear Magnum plus minus specifically. And then we can special summon by sending Sigma plus as well as Epsilon from our deck to the graveyard. Throw that right over there. Now we can activate the effect of Sigma plus in our graveyard. That'll revive the Epsilon that's in there. Special summon. And now we can activate Epsilon's effect to send Beta. And then we can summon a Magnet Warrior with a different name from our graveyard. We can grab Sigma minus or plus, it doesn't super matter. But if you grab Sigma minus, you can use that in order to set up the Talursion in the graveyard. But even if you summon a Sigma plus, we can still activate the effect of Conduction Knight Plasma Magnum to also set up Talursion from the deck to the graveyard. So as you can see, we're once again in the same spot, and if you're in Master Duel or the OCG, at this point we can go into Gallant Granite, activate. This time we'll make sure to correctly detach the Sigma minus, and then you can add the Block Dragon from deck to hand. And then now I can also demonstrate that once the Sigma minus and plus are in the graveyard, we can just banish those and then summon the Talursion, which you can use as material to summon stuff, link it off or whatever, or you can keep it on the field, and it is a quick effect, pop a card when your opponent activates a card or effect. It doesn't negate. On Patreon, I incorrectly called this an Omni Negate, but it does destroy a card when your opponent activates a card or effect. Or again, if it happens to be an Earth monster, you can also take control of it. Alright, so that's using your normal summon on Beta to set all of this up, but you can also do it with Magnet Bonding. I'll show that line real quick here. Okay, so if you do start with the Magnet Bonding, you can still spit out quite a few bodies on board, but you gotta do things a little bit differently. So we're gonna start by activating the Magnet Bonding, and we're gonna wanna search the Linear Magnum plus minus from deck to hand, which we are then going to special summon by sending Sigma plus and Beta to the graveyard. Gonna summon it like that, and then we're gonna activate the effect of Sigma plus in order to grab the Beta and special summon it. Beta's effect gets to activate here. Now, in the other lines, we went to add the Sigma minus and then fuse into the Linear Magnum, and we could do that here. And we even have some other spell cards to search for, but that'll just end you on 2 level 7 bodies and nothing else. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna search Epsilon from deck to hand instead. And now we can go normal summon Epsilon and then activate the effect. We're going to send the Sigma minus from our deck to the graveyard, and then now we can special summon a monster with a different name from our graveyard. So we're going to grab the Sigma Plus out of the graveyard that way. So this will still get you quite a few bodies on board, and then at this point, of course, we can go into our Gallant Granite with Epsilon plus Sigma Plus, and then we can activate detaching the Sigma Plus in order to add the Block Dragon. Again, of course, assuming that you are OCG or Master Duel, or who knows, maybe by the time Magnet Warriors come out, Block Dragon will be legal in the TCG again. So this line, like I said, is quite a bit different. It doesn't set up quite as much on your board. Notably, it doesn't set up the Telursion in your graveyard. But again, if we had gone the other route and gone, you know, Beta to add Sigma Minus and then Sigma Minus fuse with Beta to go for the Linear Magnum, then, or the Plasma Magnum rather, then at that point, we would only have 2 level 7 bodies and we can't search any more extenders. If you do have another Magnet Warrior to use the extra normal summon on, I think that would be worth it, but if you only open Magnet Bonding and nothing else as far as starters go, this is the line I would do to end on your bodies to keep comboing. So now that I've discussed some of the lines here that set up the bodies on your board, let's talk about what exactly you can do with those. So before we talk about stuff to go into, real quick, I want to cover some of these other spell cards here that you can potentially search with Linear Magnum if you did open the Magnet Bonding there. You can go for Magnet Induction, which if you have a level 4 lower Magnet Warrior summons another one from deck, or Magnetic Field, the field spell, which if you have a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior, could summon one from the graveyard. But again, the reason that we don't go into Plasma Magnum on the line where you open Magnet Bonding is because, yeah, you can search these, but all you'll have are Linear Magnum plus minus plus Plasma Magnum on the field, which are of course both level 7, and these both require you to control a level 4 or lower Magnet Warrior. So to end on the most amount of bodies possible, that's why we searched Epsilon in that line instead. Just wanted to make that a little bit more clear. But now I want to talk a little bit about what you can do with the bodies that this sets up. There's quite a few different engines and options that you can pivot into, whether it's the extract stuff or the rock monsters that Block Dragon can search, because in the lines, I didn't even go so far as summoning Block Dragon, because I really wanted to make this video apply to as many different builds for Magnet Warrior as possible, and there are so many different things that you can do with Magnet Warrior. For one, as you saw, a lot of our lines didn't require use of our normal summon, at least not right off the bat, so I think that Quacky Mirror Guardian is going to be a pretty solid option in this deck. I think this deck's biggest weakness is how weak it is to hand traps. We can do a lot of comboing, but that does leave you open to getting hit by Droll, Nibiru, Ash, Fua, you know, Master Duel or OCG Maxi, etc., and you're pretty weak to those. But if you start with a normal summon Quacky Mirror Guardian, and then you go special summon Linear Magnum plus minus, all of a sudden things are looking a lot better for you, right? And we can always ensure that we have a rock monster in our hand to reveal during the end phase thanks to the Block Dragon. So I really like Quacky Mirror Guardian as an option for this style of deck. Another solid rock monster you could potentially search off of Block Dragon is the Golem that guards the Millennium Treasures to potentially pivot into Millennium stuff if you wanted to get access to even more bodies. Of course, there's always the classic option of Adamantipator. You can consider this with any rock deck. I will say, though, that Adamantipator of I think all of your potential options requires the most amount of dedicated deck building, as in, you know, you have to have a critical mass of rock monsters to be able to hit off of the Adamanticipators, and in that regard, I don't think it skews quite as favorably as some of these other engines, which can put out some, you know, generic negates like Adamantipator can, but don't require that same deck building commitment. Still, though, it is an option. Speaking of options that you can do, there is Fossil Dyna. Again, we did not use our normal summon, so this did just get banned in the TCG, but if you're playing Master Duel or OCG, assuming this is still legal by the time these cards come out, then you could, in theory, normal summon Fossil Dyna. Although, you know, Mitsurugi has this option in Master Duel right now as well, because they also don't use their normal summon for their line, and it did prove to be one of the weaker ones, and I think that's going to be true here. I will say that Fossil Dyna has a little bit more synergy. Being a rock monster, you can just search this off of the Block Dragon, so there is always that option, but I don't know. I think there are better options. These following options, I don't know if they're better, but they are quite fun. I was just searching through rock monsters here on Edo Pro and found some pretty interesting options like Dead End Prison. Because remember, we're not using our normal summon, so we could just normal summon Dead End Prison and then start doing hero stuff. if we really wanted to, or at the very least, just set up a DPE, right? Make Destiny Hero Phoenix Enforcer part of our end board here. Speaking of fusions, though, the Hex Sealed fusions are all also rock monsters, so you could, in theory, normal summon one of them and then go into a light, dark, or earth fusion monster. Yet more options. These ones, I don't know. It's a little bit more iffy, I think, but, you know, Earth Hex Sealed Fusion has in the past been used to cheat out stuff like Naturia X Trio, which after you've started searching all of your, you know, monsters off of the Block Dragon, I don't think it would be that hard to conceivably make. So you could do that and have, you know, infinite spell and trap negates if you wanted to as well. There's even a Shoka Pillar. This is a rock monster that on summon lets you add any equip spell from deck to hand. So if you want to pivot from your Magnet Warrior stuff into anything that starts off of an equip spell, or even if you just have a powerful equip spell, like, I don't know, Snatch Steal or something that you want to go into, you could just summon in a Shoka Pillar. And there's even more fun stuff like Megalith. Megalith in particular, you could add like the Megalith full and then 2 other Megalith cards potentially, because I know they have a lot of different levels. So I think you should be able to add 3 by adding up to 8 off of the Block Dragon there. I'm not really well versed in Megalith, so I don't know off the top of my head, but another option among many. In the extract here, we see another of potential engines you can pivot into as well. You have so many extra bodies that playing Fiendsmith and seeking in a Moon of the Closed Heaven is trivially easy. And even if in Master Duel or OCG they go the way of the TCG and end up banning Moon, there's still Exciton Knight, because remember, we put out 2 level 4 bodies, so you can always just go into the Light Fiend Exciton Knight as well. Of course, Legal in Master Duel and the OCG is also king of the Feral Lamps. I've talked quite a bit about Mitsurugi in this video, comparing it to this engine as far as the number of bodies it can spit out. So you can just pivot from Magnet Warrior to Mitsurugi, or maybe you want to go into something that uses a Pyro, like for example the Nemesis that goes into Protoss, or you could just go into Poplar and start doing Snake Eyes stuff. The possibilities are endless. There's also, of course, Ryzeal, because we can have the ability to make a rank 4, we can simply go into Duo Drive and start doing Ryzeal stuff if you really wanted to as well. Could be very useful for when the Ryzeal starters get limited. I imagine by the time, you know, this stuff hits Master Duel, a lot of the Ryzeal starters will probably be at 1 or 2. So this might prove to be a very consistent way to not only set up a Duo Drive, but also additional bodies as well. And don't forget that we can make rank 7s. So again, Master Duel and OCG, Galaxy Tomahawk is also an option if you want to really go into some Auroradon board spam. Although, to be honest, like, we're already doing so much board spam, I think this would be super extra and unnecessary. But I think Big Eye could maybe even prove to be an interesting going second option, as you could, in the middle of your combo line, just make a Big Eye and steal one of your opponent's monsters before you start going into your other engines. So yeah, like I said, I don't usually do this style of video. I normally focus on Master Duels pretty much exclusively on this channel. But again, I'm so enamored with these Magnet Warrior monsters. I think they're so good, and I see so few people talking about them. I think this deck will be tiered. I think it will be at least tier 3, or maybe this engine, just for its sheer ability to set up bodies on board. Again, even outside of, like, you know, Master Duel, the OCG, where Block Dragon isn't legal, you're still setting up 2 level 4s and 2 level 7s off of just the Conduction Warrior Linear Magnum plus minus by itself. But yeah, just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and hopefully you enjoy this style of video. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of it on the main channel. But again, if you want to see me talk about OCG cards more before they come into Master Duel, patreon.com/hexlex is definitely the place to be. But thank you so much for watching, for your support as always. Let us go ahead now and move on to the outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.